welcome to Georgian Crossroads. This is Byrne, and today we are going to take a trip, we're going to attempt a trip to Khevsureti. And we are going to be going along a very small dirt road. I'm taking a friend of mine from Canada, Jun, and he is going to be accompanying me along the way as we make our little journey, our attempted journey. I don't know what you're going to learn from this, but it should be interesting. And this is a warning. Whatever you do, don't expect the expected in Georgia. We are looking here through Tbilisi towards the greater Caucasus Mountains, and way back there is Mount Kazbek. And if you turn right before you head straight that direction, you end up going in another valley towards our destination today, which is Khevsureti. Well, that's where we said we would try to go. It ended up being more of a very strange ride to nowhere. I went with my friend Jun Longley from Calgary in Alberta, Canada. Met him here in Georgia and proved to be a good companion on the trip. We rented the car. It was a very strange sort of car rental situation, which I'll have June explain later. But we got the car late, too late to really do anything. We thought we would go to Mtskheta, the capital, and then go beyond it to a monastery. And we didn't quite make it because it got too dark on the road. And, we made it actually, just as they were closing. But it was getting dark anyway, and there wasn't much more we could do but go back. It takes about an hour. The traffic is so bad, it takes about an hour to get out of Tbilisi from the center. But beautiful landscape, moody clouds that evening. I really loved the way this felt. So the next day, early-ish, we got up and drove out past Mtskheta, turning to the right and going to Valley. This is the Valley Reservoir. And we passed that. It was full flood stage, early June, full flood stage on the Aragvi River. And so that was quite an interesting, it was very much like Alaska as far as the silty water went. A few cars, but not much traffic overall. Okay, so I'm here on the Aragvi River, or they might be pronouncing it Aragvi, something in between. And I'm with Jun. Mm-hmm. Jun is Canadian, and we are driving on a small road, trying to get somewhere to Khevsureti. Mm-hmm. And will we make it is the predominant question. How would you characterize the road we've been on so far?
Fairly desolate so far.
Yeah,
very moist.
What's strange about the road is that there'll be these really nice sections, mm-hmm. and then horrific sections.
Completely at random.
Yeah, and we're in a car that we rented, which has a weird low front end and
which is strung together with looks like
a shoestring.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to kind of see how far we get along this road, mm-hmm. and document a little bit of it. This is what happens when you go off-road here and don't go to the main tourist sites. Mm-hmm. So, okay. You see all the debris on the side of the road there. We would meet that on the way back. The interesting thing is we just saw a sign that said, we apologize for the inconvenience from the Georgian road crew. Suddenly the road improved a bit, mm-hmm. with sections of scariness. Mm-hmm. And so we're hoping they were apologizing for
The past.
the past and not what's coming up ahead. But you can never tell.
Coming up to this really funky suspension bridge.
Okay, so we're on some sort of trail going down to the bridge here. So as you can see, I'm not going to walk too far out on this. This is the wood. Let's see, the wood is like really... I'll walk a little further. Evidently people use this. Oh, doesn't this feel weird? You can, there's nothing in the middle to hold this up. It's just a long suspension bridge. And it's got these rusting cyclone fence type things. And then it's just all, there's this stuff. They've just patched it up with bits of wood. And you can feel the whole bridge. Do you feel that, Jun? What do you think about this bridge?
I don't think we'd make it to the other side, bro.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing is just completely wobbly and weird. And meanwhile, the water is racing below us. All glacial melt. It's June here. Not to be confused with June here.
A little further up, another bridge. Roaring water. You don't want to fall into that kind of water at all. And this is going to go down and eventually meet the Mitkavari. This was a cement bridge that was abandoned. And a little further up the road, and you can see as we're driving along, this is what the river looks like most of the time. It eventually opens up and looks a little bit more like an Alaskan silt bar, but that's a little further up. This was a town called Bari-Sakho. Well, a town is stretching it, but they did have a literary cafe.
So we've just stopped here on the side of the road. There's this white stuff here that evidently is snow. I want to go touch it. Yes, indeed. It's remains of snow. So we're following this road. We just had another apology for the road, which is not the kind of sign you want to hear, I believe. Yeah, there's no
road.
No. Okay, life's just gotten weird here, and it's bumpy. Maybe this. Okay, it's not a. Okay, it's not a tunnel.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe this is the end. Oh, I see what's happening. We're going through around here. That's a really weird structure. Why don't you give me this on this side?
Meanwhile, back on the road, it kept getting worse and worse. This doesn't really show you how bad it's about to get. There's these, what looks like tunnels up ahead. Maybe they're for the more I thought about it, the more I think they're for the winter. Eventually, on the other side of this area, we're going to come to a complete stop because of the ridges in the middle of the road, and we're driving a really low seating car.
So anyway, we're in the town of Korsha, and it's a really nice little town, actually, a little village. There are a couple of markets. We went into this one over here. which just says market on it. And nice paved road. You'd think it was easy to get here. It's not. The paved road only includes the village. Pretty interesting though. And I like it here. It's really pleasant, nice. So, June, what did you think of the whole rental process compared to anything you're used to back in Canada?
It was absolutely. I don't think there was actually a process at all. In fact, first we arrived at the offices, which was an apartment building. Which actually there were no offices. So when we called the company, the gentleman on the phone told us that that we actually don't have an office there. You just book in advance and maybe we'll meet there, which we hadn't done.
When I called originally, I couldn't get through to the people. Then you called this one company,
Yeah.
and they didn't really.
Oh, the first company, yeah. I got a hold of them. They said, we have this one car left. And in about 15 minutes, they said, no, we don't have any cars. There's nothing available. Right. So we tried to find the second company. We decided, let's go there in person. That's the way to do it here in Georgia, right? Supposedly. But I guess that's not the case, actually, in this particular case, because we ended up, after that, arranging for them to drop off the vehicle at an unknown time in an unknown location, which we yet to be decided. so we essentially waited near a McDonald's near Rustaveli station for about.
Well, the guy was supposed to come at a certain time. It took him an hour after that. It was getting late in the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, we left the house around 2, and we probably ended up getting the car a little after 5. It was extremely, extremely thorough. He asked us to take a picture of the damage on the car.
There was some damage already.
There was some damage, yeah. There was the aforementioned bumper damage with just some shoestring tying it together. And then after that, took a picture of Byrne's passport. Didn't ask you for a driver's license. Didn't even inquire if you had a driver's license, did he? No. Didn't take his address. Didn't have to fill anything out. And then...
No credit card?
No credit card, no deposit. Just 200 lari for 2 days.
Except we're kind of stretching it out because he was late. So we took one ride last night, one today, and one tomorrow.
So we had it for 48 hours. Have it still for another 24, and so you get 3 days out of 2 in a way.
So probably the loosest process I've ever gone through of renting a vehicle, because my passport doesn't connect me to anything.
Yeah.
So
there's really nothing binding you at all whatsoever, really.
No.
You didn't sign anything.
No.
So.
And which is interesting. So if you come to Georgia, essentially it means once you figure out how to rent a car, it's super simple.
Yeah. Once you've done it once, which we have. So, but with each company, it could be a little bit different. Once you keep on going to the same guy,
right?
And then now you know you can just call him personally on his personal cell phone.
Yeah. It's very, very strange. Very strange.
It's the kind of thing you find in Georgia just randomly. A few pigs on the side of the road just hanging out. And this was the creakiest suspension bridge ever. And look at those guardrails.
Not where I'm standing. This bridge is way weird right here. Yeah, walk down there a little further and see how you feel. Starts feeling weird, doesn't it? I suppose if you did it every day, you wouldn't care.
And you can tell by the way Jun is walking, it is really precarious. I couldn't imagine anyone actually using this bridge. And then this older man just kind of casually strolling across with a little bag full of stuff, going to meet a friend in a car, or who knows, even a kind of a local bus or marshrutka passing through.
Got my job.
Yeah, I heard of cows.
I might go very fast. I want to be on the side.
Georgia does produce its own beef. There's plenty of room in the mountains for grazing.
Got my joba.
Then we stopped along the way at the Mother of God Church, which was on the road from Jinvali to Tianeti. And this was quite a fascinating place. There was some workers there who kind of showed us around, gave us some of the water in the back of the church. And so we've gone through Tianeti, and we're going south now to Tbilisi. The road has improved again. I forgot to mention, somewhere along the way we did get a flat tire, and I'll show you a bit of that in a moment, though. But yeah, if you didn't know better, you'd swear you were in California, in the wine-growing country, or like Sonoma, Marin County, this kind of area. And in fact, a little bit further to the east is the Alazani Valley, which produces most of the best wine in Georgia, although I'm sure people would argue where the best wine is produced there. So we ended up going through the Tbilisi National Park, which had a lot of nice trees in it. I didn't get any footage of that, but we did stop here, and there was this small village. I can't even find the name of it now. And there were these abandoned buildings, and you go inside, and they were just kind of creepy. Obviously Soviet-era buildings. There's a bowl for dogs, lots of random dogs here. In fact, Jun he was separate from me photographing in this building. He really had a bunch of dogs come up to him in a serious way, and almost got trouble with them. But it turned out what this place really was some kind of, I'm guessing from the decor, some kind of youth camp, Soviet youth camp. And now it's completely emptied. There's some animals kind of hidden in that. The most fascinating thing to me here, and we saw lots more of these in another section along the road, are all of the murals they had of the children. Again, this would seem like an abandoned bus stop for the children. But there they are in their uniforms. Flowers, birds. It's all very happy. Of course, the red neckerchief. And looking at these, it gave me a sense of the life which now no longer existed in Georgia. That is to say, that weird Soviet era. And I find those kind of ruins just as fascinating as anything from the medieval period or, a lot of people go looking for those things, but I think looking for old Soviet ruins is a great thing to do. Playing their drums. This really feels like the remnants of some old cult. And then we went down into this area. It was just hanging chunks of cement and trash, of course, wherever you find abandoned buildings, particularly here. It was a small village. There were a few houses, and of course, the new gods had come to replace the old gods. The town wasn't being guarded by the Avengers, but it was being guarded by these guys who would eventually grow up to be the kind of dogs that got Jun in trouble. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. Lots of roaming dogs in Georgia. A lot of them have little clips in their ears to show they've been neutered and that they've been also dealt with. So they don't have rabies. Yeah, so this was the big problem of the trip. Yeah, you see me sticking my finger in the tire. We actually met one of those rocks I was telling you about, really sharp rock from the road crew on the side of the road, and sometimes you just couldn't avoid it. We had the wrong kind of car. But anyway, great trip.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us today on our attempted journey into Khevsureti. And I don't know, maybe you got something out of it. We got a flat tire and in the end had to pay the guy 50 lari extra, which isn't bad. That's not a whole lot of money. So next time we will rent a car from someone else and see what happens, or we'll just rent a car from the same guy. We'll see. We had a good time. This is Byrne for Georgian Crossroads saying, we'll check you out later. Nachwamdis. That's goodbye. Do you remember that? I taught you that. Do you remember that? Anyway, talk to you later.